What is up, guys? Today's episode is going to be about my Nimbus weather app. What I've already done, I'm going to show you guys basically the layout that I have already, show you all of my code, and then I'm going to begin developing even further. I still have some styling that I need to do. I do need to connect the back end. We'll see if I get to that today. I would really like the user interface to be done before I connect the back end. I'll be using node.js, I believe, for that. And yeah, that's today's video. Let's get it. All right, you guys. So today's video is really just going to be about just showing you guys my app that I've been building, my web application. This is a weather application. I call it Nimbus weather. I think Nimbus is the Latin word for rain or climate, I believe. Anyways, yeah, so this is it. Know before you go. I thought it was a very clever phrase to open up with, and then a little nod to the tech industry. Move fast and bring an umbrella instead of move fast and break things, as Facebook or as Mark Zuckerberg said when he first started Facebook. They were just trying to break things in the tech industry, and they were able to do things quickly. So it's just a weather app. So basically what I have is I'm connected to the Open Weather API. It is the free version, so there are some limitations to it. I'm not going to commercialize this, so there's no reason to be paying for it. It's a weather app also, so there's thousands of weather apps out there. But just to show you the functionality of it, or let's put like Amsterdam, something a little more unique. And also prior to this, I did find a bug right here. We have a high and low, and I'll show you in the code here. This right here under the display weather data, it's grabbing the correct data, but the only thing is that the data, as I said before with the limitations, the data that I'm grabbing from the, where's my fetches? From this app, from this API call right here, is very limited. Apparently, after looking into the documentation, this specific one is for current weather, and it doesn't really give a wide range. Apparently, it said it was kind of a vague statement, but basically, there's a different API that I will be calling, and it's still part of the free version, so I should be able to obtain it. But for now, we're just gonna have this tiny bug. I'll fix this off screen. The whole purpose of this video is really just to show you guys the app. So yeah, going back to it, this is just a standard video that I found online that was I was able to grab for free. This is a window, or if you will, a wrapper. I wanted it to build. I wanted to feel like almost like an iPhone, if you will. And then to scroll down here, again, also I'm still styling a bunch of stuff. I just barely added this in here. I want this to be nice and dark, almost dimmed at the very top. It's probably going to be really small, just a little bit bigger than this Nimbus weather logo. And obviously this will have to be adjusted. I'll probably shorten the padding or the margin area above here. So that way it's more centered and it feels better. And then also after I center this, bringing the margin a little bit smaller, this will bring this into the window as well. So that way, it's, as far as the UX goes, the user experience, the user will know that there's more to be scrolled down, because obviously this looks like a standstill window that there's nothing to be accessed and there's nothing further than this information, but there is, lo and behold. Again, another limitation with the Open Weather API, we only get 3-hour increments. So this is supposed to be like hourly, but we only get 3-hour increments. My thoughts is that I'm actually just going to add more data points. I've only grabbed 8 data points, the first 8 of the array, and map through them. But I'm going to probably put something, maybe 12, at least enough to make sure that on a desktop screen, it extends beyond the window so people know that you can swipe through a little bit and slide. And I want that function to be there. I want people to be able to move and play with the cards, and this just kind of looks awkwardly placed here. Okay, so yeah, so this is the hourly forecast, or no, sorry, the weekly forecast from that same API. And this is all based on latitude and longitude of the city. And I think that's how they do the coordinates for this. But we have a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all the way up till I think it's the 5 days or something like that. I actually did some math calculations in my code to calculate a percentage of what this first block is supposed to be. And it has to do with all the minimums and maximums that the data gives within the hourly forecast. And I'll probably end up, obviously the icons are exactly what open weather just provides. I'm gonna do something a little more playful so that way it just looks better. And then I'll probably make this a little bit more glowy, give this more of a modern vibe. And each of these cards, all of this, I will probably put a card for itself to divide it, because right now it just kind of looks a little wonky. Let's see what else. I know if you just restart it from this landing page, this was not here prior. I had done the other page, this one, without the search bar to begin with, to make sure that my JavaScript actually worked. I needed the functionality to make sure. So right here, London, this is a piece of data that's being grabbed. This is a piece of data that's being grabbed. This too is a description from the API. Same thing as this feels like weather. This feels like is actually hard coded in my HTML, and then I do an object literal, I think it's called, to add these two together via the script.js file. And again, this is just a minor tweak using a different API to make sure that I get accurate highs and lows. Again, this is something to do with the original API to grab this one, and that's why it's coming out the same. So that's just one small bug that'll be fixed. And then I'm going to fix this part right here. It's going to have somewhat similar functionality. You know, this is supposed to be a current location. Obviously, I haven't fixed that just yet, or actually I haven't even created it yet. But basically, this is just going to be a location, like a current location. And what this will do is you'll get like the operating system, whatever it is, whether it be Windows, Linux, or whatever, but it will prompt you like, would you like to allow this application or Nimbus weather to access your current location? And you'll say either allow once, allow always, or never. And if you do allow once, then it'll automatically populate what your coordinates are and your current location is. So just a little bit of UI here. I built some buttons here. This was actually the last thing that I did aside from actually adding the search bar function on this next page. So yeah, that's pretty much it right here. I can show you the code as well, just to explain a little bit. As far as the construction is, it's based off of HTML. So up here we just have all of the head that's going to grab all the fonts. I think we also have some of the icons that we're using. These are all just, you know, link relations. As far as the video goes, we have this part right here, the background MP4. To go back to HTML, so that's what you see right here. The source play. We have it on autoplay. We want it muted because we don't need ocean noises in the background. Also, another thing is I'm going to make it where I have separate images. I think actually I have some pulled up already. So let's let it load. So this is cloudy. We have foggy. We got rainy, snowy, stormy. I even put this cool owl right here just to say stormy is probably some really heavy clouds. Yeah, look at that. These were all just going to be interchangeable. I'm going to make it match to where whatever the description says, I need to look at all the data that is coming through the API, the description data, I should say, and basically list out everything that matches the description, whether it be cloudy, foggy, rainy, snowy, because I know the descriptions in the actual weather, the open weather API are pretty descriptive. Something like scattered showers, for example, that's not rainy, right? That's scattered showers. That's very descriptive. So I need to go through all the data and basically make a list and connect that from my JavaScript and put it in via public inner HTML to make sure the background for the app or for the weather app is going to match whatever the weather is on the city that you're grabbing. So if it's rainy in the city that you're searching, it's going to populate rainy. Where it would be like this. On second thought, I need to actually show rain. This looks like it just got done raining, so I'm going to change that. I'll take a note and put a note somewhere for that. So just to forecast a little bit of what the plans are. In my next video, I'm probably going to just do an update to show you guys exactly what I did from today till then. It'll probably be next week. We'll see how far I get. I'm actually really excited. Let's see. So that's the index. You know, just some simple HTML. We got the main container. This main container is actually what you guys are seeing the full window of the scope is. And I have it in the CSS to where there's like no overflow. This is main class. That's actually literally encompassing the entire thing. So let's see, where's main? So you can see the closing tag right here, so that everything happens within there. We did put the header outside of it, so that way it does show up right here. I didn't want it to be in here because it gets kind of crowded in the window space. So I wanted this to be up here, put a little bit of back shadowing in there, so that way the Nimbus weather doesn't ever get washed out, whatever the background is. And I will have to play with this probably a little bit, just because, you know, I haven't really tested it against all the different JPEGs and PNGs that I chose for the background images. So that's something I have to remember. And we got all the city buttons right here. We have the form, and I think I built a second form. So we have city search form landing for the landing page, and we have city search form weather for the weather screen that populates after you search for something. So this was the original one that I built before I built the landing, obviously. And that's pretty much it. We can move on to the JavaScript. I've already connected backends before, but I want to connect this backend so that way I have some data source. So that way I can at least store the API keys. This is really bad practice to have an open API key in your front end. And for all you non-tech folks out there, if you have your API key in the front end, anybody can grab it. They can use it for their business. They can use it for their API calls. And if your credit card is attached to that, you can get charged thousands, 10,000s, hundreds of thousands, depending on, you know, what your limitations are with your subscription with that API. So that's the dangers of having an API key available on the front end. But you put it in the back end, so that way it sits in the server side. The front end will call the server via like a .env file to make sure that, you know, nobody in the front end can ever see it. Because for you non-tech folks, you can inspect. If you go on Google Chrome, that browser allows you to inspect. If you just right click and click inspect, you can see everything that happens in the front end, whether it be the HTML file, maybe some React in there, whatever language they're using. You'll be able to see all their code from the front end, but they won't be able to see the back end. And that's common practice for you to hold all your secret, you know, codes, keys in the back end. So that's something that I'll be having to do. I just really want to get this UI done, this user interface done. I want it to look really sleek, get all the CSS styling done. And from there, after that, then I can connect the back end, and it'll just be nice and buttery for us. So yeah, just to quickly go over this JavaScript here. This is all the JavaScript I have. This is what I worked on in the beginning. Honestly, I didn't even work on styling. I just wanted the JavaScript to work, because you need to have, you know, essentially proof of concept working before you start building. Otherwise, you have a very pretty app that doesn't work, and that's not fun. So this function show weather, the weather screen basically is the screen that loads after you either search a city, or if you click one of the buttons that I provide for, you know, for inspiration. And this is literally just the function of show weather screen, but it just grabs all these components. Some of these are query selectors for classes, and some of these are get element by IDs for the IDs that are named in the actual HTML. To show you one, yeah, section ID landing page, for example, landing page right here. It's the same exact thing. We have this set up to none because we don't want the landing page to be showing all the time. The landing page will show up eventually, but the show weather screen is only being called after you submit a city or press a button for that city, and then it will, you know, it'll display itself. We got weather content, the form weather for the weather screen. We have actual weather screen, which has the hourly weather, the weekly forecast, and also, of course, we need to auto populate the main container. This function here, display weather data. We have the current location. That's for none. That is only going to, I have this here, but it's only going to populate when you do press the location button, which it's not correctly working yet. I need to work on that. We have the city name. We got the temperature number. We have the weather description, which is like, you know, scattered showers. And then what else? Oh yeah, and then that's where we have the data weather description, whatever the first of that index is going to be. And then let's see, capitalized. Yes. So I set this so that way it capitalizes the first letter, so that way it doesn't look. It comes out like data where it's like all lowercase, and it just doesn't look that great for UI. So you capitalize that first one. Yeah. So this is basically what they're doing right here, is just capitalizing that. Where are we at? So feels like value, literally the same thing. We're grabbing the ID from feels like value, and we're going to put the text content from data main feels like. These are basically the data points. And this math round just literally because the data point is like, it's going to be like 78.856. And you need to round that because nobody wants to see 3 decimal points. And then this right here is just the degree sign that you add in after the fact. Same thing here. Again, these are not populating correctly because of the data that we're actually grabbing. I need to use a different API. So that's something we'll be fixing. Let's see, display hourly forecast. So, yes. Okay, so this is the hourly forecast. Again, we're only grabbing the first, I guess we can say first 8. And I said here YA because that's the specific data we need. Oh, okay, yes. I'm going to add more because, again, the cards are not spreading out across the entire screen. And I don't think I want to enlarge them anyways to make the user interface spread out further. I want them to be that size, especially when we scale down to phones, which is another thing, again, with the user interface. Everything breaks on the screen when I check it out on the phone. So that's something that we'll be working on through the CSS. And we're going to put like media queries in there. Yeah, so we have data list. Again, anytime you see data, we're literally grabbing the JSON data that is coming from the API call. We're going to look in the list, and then we're going to slice out the first to the 8th. And then we're going to go through for each item, and then we're going to get the data object, the hour. We're going to check if it's AM or PM. We're going to do, hour 12, so that way it's not a 24-hour clock. We're going to format it as an hour 12 plus the AM PM. And then each card is just going to be the div. Oh, we're going to create a div, sorry. Document get element by hourly weather. And then we're going to append the child. We're going to append the card to the hourly weather. And that's just how, so that basically just putting the card around the actual data. And for the card in the class list, we're going to add our card. And then inside the inner HTML, formatted hour. Yeah, we're actually just going to grab the data from this API, item, weather, and icon. Oh, so this is the weather icon. Obviously, I could have read that, but I just wanted to read out the actual function call. Yeah, so it grabs the weather, and then it grabs the actual temperature from each hourly data point, and it rounds it right here. So that's pretty much just how the hourly cards are going to be played out. It's called hourly, but again, guys, it's coming out as 3 hours because of the API. I'm not paying for it. If I did pay for it, then it would give me the hourly, but it's like 3 hourly. But that just doesn't sound great, so I'm not going to write that in. I know what it is. It's okay. Display weekly forecast. So this is obviously the weekly forecast, and it's just going to take the data, and it's going to input all of this stuff. So we have the days. We're creating an object. You're going to go through data, each list for each list item. You're going to create a variable called day name. And then this basically just turns it into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in English. If you were to put short, it would be like MON or TUES, like twos, or WED for Wednesday. But we don't want that. We want it to look professional. So, and this is just I think there's like almost like an error handling to make sure that if it doesn't have days, then put a day name. And then that's where you push the item. So that way it doesn't populate something empty. And right here is basically all those bars that you saw right here. This is all the calculations to figure out what percentage of this bar right here should be black, what percentage of it should be, the temperature. Basically, this is the low end, and this is the high end, and these are all is it subjective? Sorry, subjective based off of what all the average mins are, or average minimum low, or all the average lows and the average highs. And then based off of that day, 61 to 70, it's pretty low, obviously. And then 72 to 76, this is going to be pretty high. This is going to be on average higher. So that way so that's how you know that's why you see so much more space right here in this block. So that's what all these math calculations are. I'm not going to go through those because that took quite a bit, and that could be a whole video by itself. I see here that I put some console logs. I just wanted to see to make sure the data was correct. All right, yeah, and these are the fetch functions. These are what I'm going to be manipulating to make sure that I get the correct highs and lows on that weather screen. Here, this is some error handling, basically saying that in the data, the COD, if it's completely equal to 200, then send an error message. The 200 means that the data did not come back correctly. I think 200 means that it is a good response. And the document, sorry guys, it's been like a few weeks since I've actually read into this, but 200 I believe is a good response, and that means that in this error message, text content is going to be none. So that means it's going to be there. There's being a div, but there's not going to be anything in it. And then elsewise, right here, if and else statements are great. We're gonna actually populate an error message, the div, because we have an error message down here. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Error message weather. That's where it's going to populate. It's going to populate error invalid city. Please enter a valid city name. So if we go in here, let's just type in something crazy. Yep. Please, or error invalid city. Please enter a valid city name. Let's go ahead and reset. I want to see what happens if it looks better. I need to change where that happens. So we're just going to type in something crazy. Okay, yeah. So this is obviously not working. I'm going to have to work on this to make sure. I think I just want it to not populate current weather. I want it to stay on the landing page, and I'll probably want it to just say right here, error, the error message. So that way it stays on the landing page and it lets them just search again rather than populating something weird. That looks really broken. Okay, and next we have the current location weather. So this is basically built so that way when they do press the current location button. What's up, buddy? So when they do press the current location button and they allow it, this is what's going to work out. It's going to take the latitude and longitude of their location and literally give them the display the actual their current location weather. This is error handling again. So I think this is for, yeah, so if they press the location and then they press do not allow, I think this is what I put in here for the error handling. And then I have it just set up to where we're just gonna automatically populate San Diego, because who doesn't want to see 70-degree weather all the time, right? Let's see, get current location, hourly weather. Okay, so this is basically all the current weather. It's doing the same hourly and forecast, current hourly, get hourly forecast city, get weekly forecast. It looks like get current hourly weather, but do I have a weekly forecast for the, okay, here we go. So let me actually, I'm gonna do it real quick. We're just gonna cut this and put this underneath the current location weather because we like to be organized around here. So we have current location hourly and current location weekly. There's no reason why they should be separated. Yeah, and then we have this is the function that fetches the data for the hourly forecast, and then this is the function that grabs the data for the weekly forecast. Same things apply, just error handling right here real quick. You got to do it up front so that way if anything does happen, it happens before anything loads. These are event listeners. These are the last things in my JavaScript. Yeah, so we have the city search form landing and the city search form weather. This is for the landing page. This is for the weather screen. These are basically just the event listeners when people click and they submit into the city search bar. It knows what to do. It literally just populates. We create a search city variable, and then we take that value and then we input it in all three of these to get weather function, you get hourly, and then you get weekly forecast. This one, you don't need to put search city because it populates all these basically it's just a screen that we wanted to see. And now that I'm thinking of it, I wonder if that's the reason why it's not populated. No, because we're good. Sorry. Just a second thinking myself. Oh, and then this is the event listeners for the buttons that I have on the initial landing page right here. Literally just grabs the information. It takes literally the text that's in these and then it puts it into the search city function. So that is my Nimbus weather app for now. Looks like I have my work cut out for me. I need to do a lot of styling. I need to figure out that API for the high and low of the current, not the current location, the current weather for the city given. I need to, the same thing with styling for the hourly and the weekly forecast. I need to add a little bit more into the the cards. I need to get more data for the hourly, the 3-hour segmented forecast. And from there, we can build the back end. Really excited about that. Anyways, hope you guys like this video. This is my Nimbus weather app. This is Michael Vargas, and I appreciate you guys watching. You guys have a good one.